Hi, I'm Shelley Wood, and this is my tiny sewing room where I make doll clothes sewing videos. Today I'm going to show you how to sew snaps on a doll's garment, like the snaps on the back of these dolls' shirts. Before you start to sew, make sure the garment overlaps a little bit. Use straight pins to mark the top and bottom. Sew on snaps, or poppers, come in a variety of sizes. Here in the United States, size 4-0 snaps are ideal for 11-inch dolls. Size 2-0 snaps work best on 12 to 17-inch doll clothes, and the 1-0 snaps are great for 18-inch or larger dolls. On a package of Dritz snaps like these ones, the size is found at the bottom of the card. Begin by removing the snaps from the package. You do this by simply separating them like with a fingernail. Let's look closely at the snaps. One piece is called the stud. It sticks out in the middle. The other piece is called a socket, and it has a depression in the middle. I usually work with the socket first. Start at the top or bottom of your garment. Align the socket where you've marked with a pin. The middle of some snaps will have a hole in it. If your snaps don't have a hole in the middle, I have a different tutorial for that kind of snap. So there's a link to that other video tutorial in the description below this video on YouTube. Send a straight pin through this center hole. The pin will hold it steady while you sew. Bring a needle and thread through a side hole. Send your needle back through a nearby side hole. The thread should never cross the depression. Now from the back, send your needle through one of the side holes that you have not yet used. Now back through the fourth side hole. Be careful not to stab yourself. The thread now forms lines on either side of the depression. The socket should be stable enough now to go ahead and remove the straight pin. Send your needle through the side holes in the same order as before. Once you've made 3 passes of thread on each side, send your needle through for 3 more passes. Now on smaller snaps, maybe 2 passes, okay? So you'll want it to have 4 sides when you're done. So here you can see I have 3 sides, and then I'm finishing it off for a 4th, and there's the finished snap. Now at the back of the socket, on the other side of the fabric, create a French knot. Trim as close to the fabric as possible. If your stitches were similar, the back will have a pretty crisscross stitch. Sometimes I like to sew a snap at top and bottom, so I can estimate the distance between all the other snaps. Now here's a time-lapse video of me sewing a snap socket onto this felt shirt for dolls. Okay, so I stick my little straight pin through the hole, and then I start sewing, and I focus on getting that little crisscross in the back so it really looks clean in the back. But you know, if you're new to sewing, don't bother. It's just kind of a method that I use to make it look pretty. Now let's learn how to sew the stud. Again, use a straight pin to mark the opposite side of the garment. So you're kind of lining it up with the snap you already have, and then send another straight pin through the top flap of the fabric and all the way through the hole in the socket's center. Now this helps you align the stud with the socket. So if you look carefully, you'll see that my little red topped straight pin goes all the way through the fabric and through the other snap. Make sure the fabric's edge lines up at the neck there. Pull the straight pin out without removing it from the fabric. So you're just pulling it out of the socket. Okay, slide the stud onto the straight pin. Make sure its extended center points outward. Slip your needle and the thread under the stud. Catch fabric with your needle, and what we're doing is we're positioning a knot, okay, before pulling your needle through a side hole. This will hide the knot underneath the stud. Now send your needle back through a nearby side hole. When you pull the needle through, it will look like this. Can you see the hidden knot? We're trying to keep that hidden. Now from the other side, poke your needle through the opposite side hole, send it back through the remaining side hole. Now that you've stabilized the stud with the thread, you can remove your straight pin, okay? Make 3 more passes across each side hole area, but just like I said before, with smaller snaps, maybe only 2 passes. 3 passes is great for the bigger snaps. Next, you're going to sew the sides that you have not yet finished. So I have finished sewing 2 sides. I'm going to do 2 more sides to surround that extension in the middle of the stud. And again, I try to make a crisscross pattern in the back. It just makes it look pretty. But if you're new to sewing, you don't have to focus on that. And now we're creating a kind of a square around the center of it. Make 3 passes across the top and bottom before tying your knot. Instead of tying the knot in the back, you can catch some fabric under the stud and tie another French knot right at the base of the stud there. Okay, on the same side as the stud. Again, you want to cut pretty close to the knot. Now your knot won't be visible from the outside of the garment. Before sewing your next set of snaps on, join the stud to the socket to seal them shut. This kind of lets you know where your next set of snaps should go. Okay, this helps you estimate where the next snap goes if you're working with a closed snap. If the straight pin doesn't seem to align with the other stud, reposition it before sliding the next stud on. Follow the same steps as before. When you're all done, you want the snaps evenly spaced if you can, with crisscross thread at the back. That just looks pretty. I made 1 crisscross purple so you can really see it. Now here's a time-lapse video of me sewing a snaps stud onto this felt shirt for dolls, just so you can see. So I line it up, try and make sure that your stud is, going to fit through the next snap by simply closing the snaps that are at the top there, or at the bottom if you want to work from the bottom. And this time I crisscrossed in purple so you can kind of see how my crisscrosses look. And it takes a little concentration to get those crisscrosses right. And then I tie a knot and there you go. For free doll clothes sewing patterns to fit dolls of many shapes and all different sizes, please remember to visit my website, shelleywood.com.
What if there was an easy way to take a big doll pattern and resize it to fit a little doll, or vice versa? I'm Shelley Wood, the doll clothing designer, and in my pattern alteration class, I'm going to share with you my resizing formula.
But don't worry, you don't have to be really good at math to learn how to take a pattern you already own and make adjustments to that pattern so it will fit a different doll. And that's just one feature of pattern alterations. In my class, you'll also learn how to shorten and lengthen a pair of pants, and how to turn a pair of pants into shorts, or how to widen them at the waist, and even how to lengthen the inseam for taller dolls. We'll also learn how to adjust a skirt, making skirts that are more full or less full for a totally different look, and I'll show you how to create a gusset for a dress bodice, and how to design your own waistband for a skirt based on your doll's measurements. I'll walk you through the steps to several different pattern alterations, teaching you how to lengthen and shorten shirt sleeves, and how to make felt prototypes before you finalize your pattern. Regardless of the size or shape of the doll you enjoy sewing for, altering your patterns will help you turn your creative ideas for making original doll clothes into a variety of patterns for making shirts, pants, shorts, skirts, and dresses.
I invite you to join me. We are going to have so much fun.